Hey guys, this is Chris Sears, CPA, your partner in retirement, and this is the Retirement for Life show. Today we have a topic that doesn't come up a lot, but is very important. This show, as we've said before, is for those who have done a good job saving and are in retirement or nearing retirement. And typically we're using the AIM retirement system to help people with that. Now our average listener, our average client, what do? They come to us with this awesome nest egg that they've worked so hard for, and we run them through the AIM retirement system. And most often it's not about, can I retire? Most often it's about, what are the best things I can do with this nest egg? Mm-hmm. How do I put safety first? How do I make tax strategy a priority? How do I make sure I have enough income for the rest of my life? And what tools do we have that we can maximize the benefits for our children? But today's topic is one that doesn't come up that much, but it is one that I felt was important to address. So today's topic is about using reverse mortgages in retirement. And most of our listeners probably at this point are tuning off and saying, well, I don't need a reverse mortgage. But I would encourage them to listen, because it's going to be a short presentation today. We do have Michael Schwinn from Longbridge Financial, who makes a living helping people in retirement with reverse mortgages. And there's a bad stigma to reverse mortgages.
Yes, there is.
And so I would encourage our listeners, even if they're not maybe needing reverse mortgages, to listen, because there is guaranteed somebody in their lives that could benefit from this. Mm-hmm. But today we're really wanting to reach out to people who probably should be at least looking at a reverse mortgage. Today we're going to show how a reverse mortgage is actually an extremely viable tool in the retirement toolkit for those people who have to use it. Mm-hmm. It's not the bad guy. It's not the bad guy. So we're going to introduce that research. We're going to show how, in a real-life example, this actually improves the chances of retirement success. A person who came to us was it this week or last week?
Last week.
Mm-hmm. Last week, and we'll talk about that real-life example. I will show you his actual retirement plan and how a reverse mortgage brings him from essentially a 0% chance of success to a reasonably good chance of retirement success. Mm-hmm. We'll have that interview for you, which is a great interview. Michael Schwinn goes through the basics of the reverse mortgage, talks about that stigma, and really he goes through the most important things that people need to know about reverse mortgage. There's a lot about reverse mortgages that people don't know. And then finally, we're going to talk about, this is the key to the show, when to take the reverse mortgage, the guidelines, how to take it, when you should take it. And that's probably going to be the best piece, because we'll show you what a reverse mortgage is in this show. We'll have you listen to an expert about reverse mortgages. But what does it all mean? In this show, we promise a couple things to help educate people, to try and entertain people. Can you imagine one of the most difficult tasks in the world is making a show on reverse mortgages interesting? How are we going to do that?
We got our work cut out for us.
Yeah, you won.
But anyway, but really, once you learn about reverse mortgages and you listen to a reverse mortgage expert, the real meat and potatoes is, how does this apply to me? And we'll talk about those guidelines. That's the real value of this show. So without any further ado, let's get started. The A team is here. Andrea, I want to start with you. We were just talking before the show. Mm-hmm. I feel like you've had a bad week, but you said you haven't had a bad week.
No, pretty good week. Just frustrating with internet issues, kind of delaying me getting things done.
Yeah, and yesterday, or maybe it wasn't yesterday, maybe it was 2 days ago, I said to you something like, I could just tell. After 12 and a half years, I can tell there's something wrong with it. And you said too many applications or something like that.
A lot of paperwork. A lot of paperwork this week, yeah.
Austin, how was your week?
It's been good. Productive.
Yeah?
Besides the internet issues, productive. Yes.
And, Brooke is the editor of this podcast, this show, and she may very well cut this out, but we're doing something fun after this podcast today. Mm-hmm. Austin, well, Brooke, it was your idea. Why don't you tell us what we're doing?
Yeah, we're going to a golf simulator.
Why?
Team bonding, quarterly team bonding. We're going to start doing that, and Yeah, it'll be fun.
So there's approximately 8 or 9 people that are going golfing today.
Yep.
And you feel it's important to get out of the office
Yeah.
and do something besides
Applications.
retirement.
Exactly. Yep. Something different. So,
All right, so let's talk about a real life example. All right, this is a reverse mortgage real life example. This gentleman came in and his wife came in last week. Let's call him Chuck. Okay. Let's first say about reverse mortgages. Definitely a last resort in retirement.
Yeah.
This is something that you do because you've tried to do everything else possible. But what did Chuck say when we showed him his retirement, when we told him that he probably didn't have enough money to retire, and we started talking about the last resort? Before we
Yeah.
even said it, what did he say?
Yeah, he kind of cut you off and just said, I know you're going to say reverse mortgage, and I'm not doing that.
He's not doing it.
Yeah.
It's like he's too proud to do it. Look, Social Security is a great example. We work our butts off our entire life. It becomes an asset. And the first thing we do when we retire, people just want to get their hands on it. In fact, we talked about it last week on the last podcast. We actually have to strain people back and make them wait for Social Security.
Yeah.
But the home is the same thing. They work their entire life and they save up money. They pay off their mortgage, but yet for some reason they don't want to use this huge asset. It doesn't make sense.
And this important question we asked Chuck is, what are your kids going to do with this money?
What the hell are your kids going to do with the house?
Yeah.
And I'll answer that for myself. My parents passed. What am I going to do with it? I'm going to sell it.
We're going to sell most kids. Brooke, are you going to sell your mom and dad's house one
oh,
day?
yeah.
Are you going to hold on to
No.
it for like a keepsake?
Nope.
No. It's going to be used anyway, and your kids are just going to sell your home anyway. So don't be so proud that you're starving in retirement or literally draining your accounts dry with a $250,000 home sitting there or a $350,000 home sitting there. Hey, everybody, are you enjoying this video? If you are, give us a thumbs up. Do you want to stay on top of the content? Then subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support means the world to us. Thanks for watching. Again, it's a last resort. If you're talking about a reverse mortgage, you should probably say, let's rethink retirement. But there are cases. And what do you say to a 67-year-old man and woman who have literally worked their butts off their entire life? Do you tell them to work for 4 more years?
I know. It's a hard conversation.
You have to tell them the truth. This doesn't look good. So let's actually get into the example and show them what it looks like. All right. So, Andrew, why don't you tee us off here with Chuck? We're going to call him Chuck. Just give us a little baseline on Chuck when he came into our office.
Yeah, so this is when we get to the how are you going to do in retirement? Are you going to have a good chance of retirement success? And the very first screen says 1% chance.
Yeah. And Austin, what is our target? What do we like to see to give people the green light and say you're good for retirement?
Usually 80% or above. chances.
80% or above, right? That's what I like to see. So they have a 1% chance of retirement success, and this is after going through about 15 things that we have in our arsenal with the AIM retirement system.
Yeah, and
okay?
usually this first screen before we do anything is a 75%
Our
chance.
typical client, when they walk in, they already have like a 75 or 80% chance.
Yeah.
Our job typically is to help improve that.
Yeah.
What decisions can they make to help generate and maximize their income?
Yeah.
What things can we do to protect them from the stock market?
And so they can enjoy retirement.
What tax strategies do we have that will generate the most tax savings for them and their kids? This conversation is completely different, right? And Austin, on the right, we have a 0 there. So what's that 0 mean?
That's their nest egg when they pass away. As you can see, it's nothing.
Absolutely nothing. And that is at age what?
95.
Right. So we're basically planning for 95 years old, maximizing how much you have in your bank account at age 95. That is the definition of retirement success from a financial standpoint. These people have virtually 0% chance. So
Yeah.
first thing we tell them is
Well, they shouldn't retire. They
maybe
should
don't
work longer.
retire, right?
Yeah.
But they were pretty insistent.
They are. They're persistent. I mean, they've worked for 40 years. They want to pull the trigger and retire.
So we've basically extinguished all possible things with the exception of 2.
Yeah.
And this is where it becomes a difficult discussion. And they are insistent that they're going to retire anyway, right? And I don't understand it. This is, if I tell you you have a 0% chance of jumping off the cliff and surviving, they were going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
They were going to do it anyway. So then you're like, okay, what are the last two things, and what's the first thing we discuss with them?
We always have to bring up in this situation reducing expenses, which is tough because first off, most of the time people don't know what they're spending in the first place. And then we have to tell them they need to spend less.
Okay, so this gentleman, we tell them we're going to reduce your expenses by $1,000 a month. Thoughts about that?
I mean, that's tough for anyone
Is
to
it
do.
practical?
Yeah, it's not usually practical. I mean, really, when you retire, you want to go do things. So you're telling them right off that they're going to retire and spend less and probably not get to do the things they wanted to do.
Typical client comes in, they're spending $9,000 a month, and you say, look, you got to pull out $500 a month here, just a little bit. Doable. But for a customer like this who is already being pretty frugal, I don't know if this is realistic. But that still did not get them to where they need to be.
Yeah.
Now they have a 1 in 3 chance of success. Not working, still $0 at age 95.
Yeah.
And that's when we bring in the last tool in the tool belt, which is reverse mortgage. Remember what Chuck said?
Yep.
There's no way I'm doing this. You put this on the screen. Well, guess what, Chuck? With a reverse mortgage, you actually have a almost 70% chance of retirement success.
Right. And as soon as his wife saw that, she was saying the opposite of Chuck and being like, we'll do whatever we have to do.
We're going to do it.
Yeah.
And Austin, the kids actually get something.
Yeah, look at-
$272,000.
They pass away at 95. Yeah, look at that. Almost $300,000 when they pass.
So here's the deal. Reverse mortgages, nobody wants to do them. I understand why. I think it's better to be smart than proud. This gentleman actually went from a 1% chance of retirement success to 69%.